Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of Cosplay Colorado. My name is Roger, and I'm going to be your host today. With me, we have one of my very good friends, Randy V. Hill. Randy, say hi.
Hello there.
All right, so Randy is not really a huge person into cosplay like I am, or like Steven is from episode 2, but he is definitely somebody that I wanted to bring on to this podcast for the very specific reason of really getting an outsider's perspective on what cosplay is and things along those lines. But before we get into that, Randy, would you care to introduce yourself?
Well, like he said, my name is Randy V. And I'm kind of into cosplay, but I'm not like huge into it. I know about it, and I'm not against it or anything, but I'm not huge into it myself.
Yeah. So, with that being said, what is cosplay to you? Like, what does it mean to you?
Like, what do I think it means to people?
Still. You don't have to get it to the microphone. you're good.
What it means to me, or like
what it means to you. Like, what do you see cosplay as?
Just a way that people get more involved with the characters they enjoy seeing so much, like whether it be Marvel, DC, anime, any TV show, any movie. Kind
of like their way of expressing themselves a bit.
This is a huge part of my life, and I want to express it, sort of thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the things that I see with cosplay, and this is one thing that I talked about in my previous episode, which if you're not listening to my podcast now, I'm only slightly upset with you. But now you know it exists more, because I'm pretty sure I've been promoting it like crazy on Facebook and Instagram. But
I'm a bad friend.
Hey, that's all right.
That's all right.
Everything gets busy. You don't have time to catch up with everything. But For me, I can definitely agree with you. Cosplay is definitely a way of people kind of expressing themselves and dressing up and like building their own things to be the heroes they idolize so much.
Or villains. Anti-heroes.
I mean, hey, they can look up to them. That's their hero, right?
Yeah, I am.
But that's definitely what I feel like cosplay is for me on a personal level. But I definitely feel like it's something that's a little bit more underrated, because the thing that I see a lot of people, especially when I ask them like, what is cosplay, you're like, oh, it's people in costumes. Right. I've even had some people go as far as like, oh, they're only doing it as a phase, like they'll grow out of it kind of thing, or it's a weird furry thing.
The cool people,
it's
weird.
Only the cool kids do it. Yeah,
or they think it's weird. Like that's why cool people.
Yeah, and it's something that I feel like a lot of people just they overlook, because for me personally, especially like as a photographer, I don't see cosplay as just a thing. I see it as kind of an art form. Like people, they dress up as those characters, but there's a lot of thought that goes into that. Especially like even if they're only like buying their costumes online, they're still thinking about who they want to dress up as and why they want to do it, and like whether or not they're wearing it for the whole extension of a con or something along those lines.
And they put effort into that, and like it makes them happy doing it.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that I want people to realize about cosplay, is that it's not just some childish things. There are a lot of cosplayers that are like well into their 30s or 40s even, that would still go out and they build their own costumes and they go and do whatever they want pretty much, and they go to all these different conventions and they just show people their work, and it is art, honestly.
It is.
Like there's so much that goes into that. But that being said, have you ever been to any conventions?
I've been wanting to go to Comic-Con since forever, but haven't been able to do it with work and money.
The Denver Comic-Con?
Yeah. Or California, if the opportunity presents itself.
I will say the San Diego Comic-Con, I've never personally been. I would love to go to that as well.
Yes.
Specifically more now for this podcast, mostly because after doing a little bit of research on SDCC, it is so crazy out there. It's a week-long con, first off.
Yeah.
And second off, the line is literally like a 4-hour or 5-hour wait.
Jeez.
Like, it is insane. So I think if I were to do like SDCC, I would have to be there like the day before, camping out, waiting in line, because I can't.
I'm sure you're not the only one.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Yeah. But I know when we were going to school in Fort Lewis, we actually went to the Fort Lewis College Comic-Con. That was probably the world's smallest con.
Yeah.
There was
We're
like
the only
maybe
ones there.
20 people there.
Yeah.
But we met. What was her name?
A cosplayer. I don't remember her name.
It was AZ Power Girl. That's what she goes by. Yeah. She was cool. But it was only a 1-day con.
Yeah.
And it was definitely, it was nice for what it was, but I can definitely see it's room for growth. But yeah, that was technically both of our first cons at that point.
Yeah.
I would say if you really want to go to Denver, they call it Denver Pop Culture Con now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Weird.
because of copyright things.
Okay.
But if you want to go to that, but you can't afford it, and this goes for everybody out there. If you guys want to go to Denver Comic Con and
Pop Culture Con.
Denver Pop Culture Con, thank you. But you don't think you have the money for it, they do take volunteers.
Yeah.
You do have to fill out an application on their website and everything, but after you pass their like general background check, you can go in there, and you do still have to help them out. They don't just let you in, you just roam around doing whatever. You go in there for like 4 or 5 hours at a time, but then at that point you have all of that free time afterwards, which is only like another like 4 hours after your shift is over, but that's 4 hours that you spend at Comic-Con that the only thing you had to pay was your time and effort.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say it's worth looking into. Yeah, they're always looking for volunteers. They typically start listing things on their Instagram page like a few months before Comic-Con even comes out, maybe even up to like
Pop Culture Con,
up to like 6 months before Pop Culture Con actually comes.
There we go.
Yeah. But that being said, do you know of any cosplayers yourself? Like, are you familiar with any cosplayers?
Jessica Negri. It's probably the first one that really comes to mind. I just really admire her work.
So, for those of you who don't speak Randy, the reason why he thinks of Jessica Negri so much is, well, to put it in layman's terms, she is a very attractive cosplayer.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, is a lot of people only look at cosplay because the cosplayers are very attractive.
There's this other one I have too. I follow on Instagram. Her name is K. This one. I'm not a K.
K Victoria.
Yeah.
See, I think I used to follow this one. I don't know. It looks familiar, but she does a lot of Harley Quinn stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, she's cool too. But that's one of the things. You get a lot of cosplayers that they make it big. They go huge. They get really, really famous off of their work alone. And that's definitely one thing that I feel things have kind of started putting off. Like, everybody focuses and idolizes all of these people that are successful, but nobody wants to look at the up-and-coming cosplayer that's like, they've been pouring their heart and soul, they've been going to school, they know how to make their own props, they're making their own costumes, they're like practically masters of sewing and stitching and all that other fun stuff.
People are like, she's hot.
Yeah. And like, if for a lot of people, and that's the unfortunate part, for a lot of people, they see somebody and the only reason why they start following them is because they think they're attractive. And it's a thing, and it works, so like, to each their own. But for me personally, the reason why I follow all of the cosplayers that I do on my Instagram and Facebook is because I know the amount of effort that goes on behind their work, and like how much time it takes for them to go through that. And just having that understanding, it's crazy. So I definitely like to try and support as many cosplayers as I possibly can. Like, I mentioned them in the second episode, but there's a cosplay group in Denver. They're called the Planet Girls of Denver. It's just one big Sailor Moon
sort of thing,
group. It's really cool. And they're all local cosplayers, local to Colorado. Not necessarily to Denver, but to Colorado.
I get you.
Like all over the place. Boulder, Denver, Colorado Springs even.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so they all come together and they all go to their conventions as the Planet Girls of Denver, and it's awesome. But they're up and coming, definitely, but they are all very talented individuals. And that's one of the things that I really want to try to get people to realize when they're looking at cosplayers and just looking at their work is, don't necessarily look at the person that's doing that. Look at the person and their work. Because, yes, they're doing it for, like, how much fun it can be and like what the final product actually comes out to. But you get a lot of people that when they see that final product, they're like, oh, you really shouldn't have done that character because you don't have the complexion, or you don't have the body style, or your skin tone is completely different. You shouldn't have tried that, which I personally disagree with. It's something that
That's very stupid.
Oh yeah. And the guy that I interviewed last week, one of the things we were talking about is, who cares? You know, like if for example, if you wanted to cosplay Black Panther, me personally, I don't see anything wrong with that.
I have very light skin tone, for those of you who don't.
He's very pale, like brown hair, blue eyes, and ridiculously pale. Yeah. But anyways,
outside more.
Definitely. But like that's the point. Like you get a lot of people that are like, oh, because I'm more pale, or because I'm more brown, I can't cosplay Black Panther because, well, I'm not a darker individual. Yeah. I disagree with that. If you want to go and cosplay somebody that is something completely different, whether they're a different gender or a different skin complexion,
the gender ones don't, like, people make the big deal about that, I think, the most.
Exactly.
If a guy wants to cosplay as a girl character or vice versa, it's like
and I've seen some really cool gender bend cosplays. Like I actually saw when I was at Comic-Con, there was a lot of like male Harley Quinn cosplays. Some of them were a little bit disturbing in my opinion, because they had the really short shorts, but they made it very masculine, and it was, for me, it was disturbing. But hey, if they felt comfortable for it, awesome, they're doing good. But I actually saw one, not at Denver Comic-Con, it was actually on Instagram under like the Harley Quinn hashtag, where it was this guy who dressed up like he was back in middle school. He had his shorts that were patterned like exactly like Harley Quinn's from the Suicide Squad. He had the shirt, but instead of saying Daddy's Little Monster, it said Mommy's Little Monster or something like that. And he had the bat and everything. Like, this was a really, really cool cosplay. Yeah. And you can tell this dude did everything himself. You could actually see the Sharpie marks on the shirt, and it was cool. Good. It was cool. The attention to detail was really good.
That's really good. Yeah,
oh yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I want people to kind of have that better understanding of is, yes, it's not like super high quality. Like, it doesn't look like it came off the shelf of like a Spirit Halloween or something, but it's good for what they had. But still. Yeah, everyone has their own materials that they can go into. Not everybody has access, or not everybody has the time to put in that much effort. So they just do what they can in their spare time, and they get their own version of that costume.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, of the few cosplayers that you do know, who would you say is your favorite, and why?
Probably that Kay Victoria, because Harley Quinn's one of my favorite characters of all time. Sorry.
Way to slam things on the desk.
No, putting my foot down here.
Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's the best. Any cosplayer that does Harley Quinn is the best.
No, because she puts a lot of work into it, and the classic costumes are my favorite, and that's what she does most of the time.
Definitely.
And she's the only two I know. One of the only two I know.
One of the only two. But it's still impressive that you picked her over Jessica Negri, because Jessica Negri is arguably the most popular, most famous and well-known cosplayer.
Because of her
several
research that goes into her character. Research hours that go into the character.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm talking about, is a lot of people literally only follow her because of what she looks like, and not because of her cosplays.
Because of her dedication to the art, right? No other reason.
A lot of people, unfortunately. You get a lot of that. If you guys aren't picking up on it, it's, again, we're talking about people only following certain cosplayers because of their looks. Yeah. Which, I mean, you're getting a bigger audience, but for me personally, again, I would very much like to see people at least appreciating a little bit of the art form.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, rather than commenting on photos like, send me pictures of your feet, saying something like, wow, that looks like it took a lot of time. that looks really
Sure,
good.
I'm sure there are people on Jessica Nigri's
definitely.
profile that like do that, like just
Definitely.
admire the work. But
Yeah, and it all goes hand in hand. Like, I'm not saying everybody out there is like they're either into the cosplay or they're into the person. Like, it's not black or white like that.
Yeah.
It's they can like cosplay but have no idea what's going on with it. They can like cosplayers and have no idea what they want to do in terms of cosplay, so they don't do it themselves.
Yeah.
Like, you can be a fan of it or you can not be a fan of it, or again, like I said earlier, just be a fan of the person in general, whether it's for their looks or for their skill, one way or another, as
Or
long as
both,
you're a
if
fan
you
of the
really-
person, and you're supporting them and not being creepy about it, really.
Yeah.
Because that is definitely an issue.
Oh, yeah.
In today's day and age, and it's everybody. Everybody has a tendency to be creepy, but there are lines that a lot of people like to cross.
Yeah, especially on Instagram comments.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
DM me.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
All right, now, do you know of the different types of cosplay there are, or a general idea of like what different types there can be?
No. No.
So here, let me see. I have some written down here. So the 3 most common ones that I saw on a quick Google search were gender bend cosplay, humanized cosplay, and mashups.
So humanized would be like taking non-human characters,
like Pokemon or something, and making them human.
Okay. Then I didn't know that was like a fact, like a category.
Yep. Yeah, it's actually really cool. There was one cosplay that I saw. It was a couple of them. There was a guy and a girl. They had cosplayed as Cubone, and just like the humanization of it was awesome. The guy's was a little bit more violent, which I personally thought it was awesome. It was like he killed a Pokemon and it was still wearing his blood and things.
Okay.
That was really cool.
That's cool.
But definitely having like that humanization side of cosplay, it's interesting.
The little tweak everyone puts on it.
Oh yeah, it's awesome because everybody has their own style, and to see that person's style and what they're doing is like, it's awesome to see. But as far as like the other types, again, gender bend, mashups, humanization, there are a few other ones where it's like, let me see. I'm trying to think of them right now, but they're escaping me. But there are a whole world of cosplay that you can fall into.
I imagine.
Which one do you think would appeal to you the most? So if you were to get into cosplay yourself,
probably the humanized.
Humanized ones.
Yeah. Or that's probably that one. Yeah.
Why that one? Any particular reason? Or
just a lot of characters I like that aren't human and love to like, give it my own little tweak,
bring to life kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sort
of thing.
What characters are they?
Really putting me on the spot. Wasn't ready for
that's my job.
Probably Pikachu is the biggest one.
That would actually look really cool.
Yeah. Like a humanoid, or Rocket Raccoon, or Groot.
See, I feel like Rocket Raccoon would be the most challenging one, just because you have to have. Well, you don't necessarily have to have it. It's up to you.
Yeah.
But like, you have to have that spunk kind of thing. Like, you have to have his
Italian
style.
spunk that he has. Yeah.
That kind of like, I don't care about you or anything that's happening. I only care about me.
Yeah. Except he does care.
Yeah, like that.
Character development.
Exactly. Which Rockets was probably one of my favorites. Not a whole lot going on in terms of character development, in my opinion. He goes from not caring to caring to not caring to caring, and then he loses Groot, and then now he's caring.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of an emotional roller coaster with Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
But it's still really good.
Yeah, it is really.
But those are definitely good selections.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that if I were to get into cosplay, kind of do my own thing. I wouldn't necessarily stick with like going with like an anime character or a game character or like a comic book character. I think I'd want to just make things like I don't know if you've seen my Halloween getup, but it's basically this really weird mutated steampunk thing.
Yeah,
like I have that no skin or that like all skin mask with only eye sockets. No nose or no teeth or anything. I have that, and I have like a steampunk top hat, and this really cool. It's like it honestly reminds me of like voodoo or something along those lines, like a cane with like a goat head on it.
For sure.
Like that is what I like, a creature of my own design, really. And I wore it a lot for Halloween, and I wore it last year to Comic-Con, and it's interesting to see the differences that people like, how they react to that costume. In Halloween, people did not want to come up to me like at all. Like they hated me. It was awesome. But then at Denver Pop Culture Con, I got stopped like every 10 minutes by some random photographer who's like, dude, I love that, let me get a picture of it. It's like, all right, cool. It was actually me and Rochelle. We were walking around all steampunked out, and it was a good time.
That's good. Yeah, it's awesome.
Let me see, there was another thing. Oh, back onto like the kind of underestimation of cosplay. For me, a lot of people that I feel when they meet their cosplayers, they don't know exactly how to converse with them. That's an issue that I personally ran into. Because like I'm not as much into anime as I used to be. I am terrible at video games, so I don't game like at all. And so having all of that knowledge, it escapes me. So I don't really have a way of talking to cosplayers and saying, hey, I really like your blah 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 character, it's so accurate. I can't do that because again, I don't have that understanding. But one of the things that I feel is definitely a good way to approach those cosplayers is, instead of talking to them about what they built, talk to them about how they built it.
How'd you do that?
Like admire their process, because then at that point now I have something to talk about. Like there's a cosplayer that you should check out. Her name is Jenny D. She's a local cosplayer to Colorado as well. But she like designs and builds all of her cosplays. Like everything is done by her pretty much. Like she'll get wigs and things like that from other places, but pretty much all the costumes you see on her Instagram, she put together herself. And it's that whole process that I think is awesome. But again, I have no idea who the characters are. So I can't really be like, hey, that's a nice gesture. Now I know who that one is. That's from Critical Role.
You can ask who she's cosplaying.
Exactly.
And go from there.
But for me, the thing that's always like sparked my interest is definitely like what happens behind the scenes. Like I can appreciate the like the final product. That's awesome, and props to the cosplayers for finishing their project. But I don't know, for me, I definitely would rather see the process of things being done, because
I understand.
That's one of the things that not a lot of people like think about. Like when you go to the movies, you go to see the movie, but you don't think about the production that went on behind it, right?
The post production, pre-production, film, all that.
Just like editing, the hell that the actors have to go through. The sound editing. God. I've been playing with that a lot recently as well. Like just for like the podcast, and
it's a lot.
It's rough. It is so rough.
A lot goes into it.
It's to anybody out there who's listening, if you are a video editor or a sound editor or cosplayer or anything along those lines, props to you. Like the little bit that I've done in those categories,
it's intense.
It's rough. It's fun, but
it's rough.
You definitely have to like want to do this.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, did you have any questions for me or the channel?
No, I think good.
Cool.
I think I'm good.
That's going to be everything for today, everybody. So thank you all for tuning in. as usual. Check me out on Instagram. I did create a new Facebook page as well. Everything is under Cosplay Colorado. If you're listening to this through your YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Shameless promotion here.
No.
But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. This episode is definitely going to be a lot shorter for all of you, so we'll see you next time.
Oh, yeah.